Nehemiah chapter 13. At that time, when the book of Musa was being read in the hearing of the people, it was found written there, no Ammonite or Moabite may ever be admitted into the assembly of God the Father. For they did not meet the Israelites with food and water, but they hired Balaam to curse them. Though our God the Father, Most High, Jehovah, E-I-I-M, Most High I Am, turned the curse into a blessing. When they had heard the law, they separated all those of mixed descent from Israel. Reform in the temple. Before this, the priest Elisha, who had been placed in charge of the chambers of the house of our God the Father, who was an associate of Tobiah, had set aside for the latter's use of a large chamber in which had previously been stored in the grain offerings, incense and vessels, the tithes and grain, wine and oil allotted to the Levites, singers and gatekeepers, and the offerings due the priest. During all this time I had not been in Jerusalem, for in the 32nd year of Artaxerxes, king of Babylon, I had gone back to the king. After a suitable period of time, however, I asked leave of the king and returned to Jerusalem, where I discovered the evil thing that Elisha had done for Tobiah, and setting aside for him a chamber in the courts of the house of God the Father. This displeased me very much, so I had all of Tobiah's household goods thrown outside the chamber. Then I gave orders to purify the chambers, and I brought back the vessels of the house of God the Father, the grain offerings, and the incense. I learned, too, that the portion due the Levites were no longer being given, so that the Levites and the singers who should have been carrying out the services had deserted to their own fields. I reprimanded the magistrates, demanding, "Why is the house of God the Father neglected?" Then I brought the Levites together and had them resume their stations. All Judah once more brought in the tithes of grain, wine, and oil to the storerooms. In charge of the storerooms I appointed Shelemiah, the priest, Zadok the scribe, Pedaiah, one of the Levites, together with Hanan, son of Zachary, son of Mattaniah, and their assistant. For they were considered trustworthy. It was their duty to make the distribution to their kinsmen. Remember this to my credit, my God the Father, Most High I Am. Do not forget the good deeds I have done to the house of my God, Father, and its services. Sabbath observance. In those days I perceived that people in Judah were treading the wine presses on the Sabbath, that they were bringing in sheaves of grain, loading them on their donkeys, together with wine, grapes, figs, and every other kind of load, and bringing them to Jerusalem on the Sabbath day. I warned them to sell none of these provisions. In Jerusalem itself, the Tyrians residing there were importing fish and every kind of merchandise and selling it to the Judahites on the Sabbath. I reprimanded the nobles of Judah, demanding, "What is this evil thing you are doing, profaning the Sabbath day? Did not your ancestors act in the same way, with the result of that our God the Father, Most High, has brought all this evil upon us and upon this city? Would you add to the wrath against Israel by once more profaning the Sabbath?" When the shadows were falling on the gates of Jerusalem before the Sabbath, I ordered the doors to be closed and prohibited their reopening until after the Sabbath. I posted some of my people at the gate so that no load might enter on the Sabbath day. The merchants and sellers of various kinds of merchandise spent the night once or twice outside Jerusalem, but then I warned them, "Why do you spend the night alongside the wall? If you keep this up, I will beat you." From that time on, they did not return on the Sabbath. Then I ordered the Levites to purify themselves and to watch the gates, and so that the Sabbath day might be kept holy. This too, remember in my favor, my God the Father, Most High I Am, and have mercy on me in accordance with your great mercy. Mixed marriages. Also in those days I saw Jews who had married women of Ashdod, Ammon, and Moab. Of their children, half spoke the language of Ashdod or of one of the other peoples, and none of them knew how to speak the language of Judah. So I reprimanded and cursed them. I beat some of their men and pulled out their hair, and I adjured them by God the Father, "You shall not marry your daughters to their sons, nor accept any of their daughters for your sons for yourselves." Did not Solomon, the king of Israel, sin because of them? Though among the many nations there was no king like him, and though he was beloved of his God the Father, and God the Father had made him king over all Israel, yet even he was led into sin by foreign women. Must it also be heard of you that you have done the same terrible evil, betraying our God the Father by marrying foreign women? One of the sons of Jehoiada, son of Eliashib, the high priest, was the son-in-law of Sanballat, the Horonite. I drove him from my presence. Remember against him, my God the Father, how they defiled the priesthood and the covenant of the priesthood and the Levites. So I cleansed them of all foreign contamination. I established the various functions for the priests and Levites so that each had an appointed task. I also provided for the procurement of wood at stated times and for the first fruits. Remember this in my favor, my God the Father.